We'll continue now with Ois Vav. So the Rebbe discussed how through Maya representing the Koiches Protim, Eser, Pomim Eser, 10 times 10 Koiches Protim, through this Avodah were Megale the Ma. The Rebbe explained that the Ma is the bittul of the Etzem HaNeshama, which on its own is higher than Gilui. And through the level of Meyo, the Koiches Protim, we tap in and we're mamshich that the Ma should be Begilui, and that the Ma should come down in the Koiches Protim. Through the Ma, you reach, through the Koiches Protim, the Avodah, you reach up that you're Megala the Ma, and then that the Ma is felt in the Koiches Protim. But the question is, this is Meya, the number Meya represents the Koiches Protim, but why is it Epes Meya Brachas? The Rebbe will explain that the whole purpose of bringing down the Etzem HaNeshama is to bring down into the Dira B'Tachtonim, into this world, the level of the Neshama, of the Mother Neshama, but it should come down into Dira B'Tachtonim. And that's the idea of brachas, as the Rebbe will explain. So the Rebbe asks now, before we explained Meya and Ma, now the Rebbe wants to explain why Epes Meya brachas Davke. Chadayin tzarich lahavin, we still need to understand Mahi hashaychus, the Ma va'elkecha shoel me'imach, that what Hashem is asking of you, the Meya brachas Davke. Why 100 brachas? The idea of Meya is the Koiches HaNefesh, but why 100 brachas? But Yuvan Zeh Bahagdi Masha Kosu B'tchilas HaKosuf will understand this by first introducing what says in the beginning of that pasuk. It says, Va'ato Yisrael. It should say, Yisrael Ma Hashem Elokecha. What does it mean, Va'ato now? Va'ato Davke. Why does it say, now, what does Hashem ask of you? Why Va'ato? So the Tzemach Tzedek explains that Ve'ato now sheVe'ato koyi al yimei shnosenu ba'olam hazeh. That Ve'ato applies to the days of our years in this world. Ve'ato means now, during our lifetime, while we are in this world. Ve'ato, now we have to Ma Hashem Elokecha shoel me'imach. V'alderech ma shekosu b'siyum parsha hakedemes. This is similar. This Va'ato here, meaning during Shmei Shnosenu Ilm Hazeh, is similar to what is written at the end of the previous parsha. It says, Asher anoichi metzavcha hayoim la'asoiso. So in the parsha it says that I command you today, in the parsha Shema, to command you today. So why does it say I command you today when they were commanded already long time ago? V'amar Razal. So our sages of blessed memory say, Hayoim is dafke, Hayoim la'asoiso. No, v'loi lemochor la'asoiso. It's the mitzvahs that we need to do. I tell you today to do them, not what I said before, but Liyoim. The emphasis here is that doing is when is Hayoim. Sages tell us Hayoim la'asoisom v'loi lemochor la'asoisom. We need to do them today. The mitzvahs need to be done today and not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Kibbul Schar, but la'asoisom is today. Why? Even though the Hagam Shekiyum ha-mitzvahs yiyeh gam b'yimos ha-Mashiach. Even though the fulfillment, the observance of mitzvahs is going to be also in the times of Mashiach. V'adrabah, not only will we do mitzvahs then in Mashiach, os davke yeh ki mitzvahs v'tzeinecha, as we say in the davening, then when Mashiach comes, the mitzvahs will be done as Hashem wants them done. In other words, right now we don't really do the mitzvahs in the fullest, in the proper way, in the highest level. It's going to be mitzvahs v'tzeinecha is going to be done. So why are we saying that we only can do mitzvahs now in Yom L'Aseisom? But nevertheless, Kiyum ha-mitzvahs ba'ifan de L'Aseisom, to observe the mitzvahs in a way of Aseisom. Aseisom means not just doing, but to force yourself to do the mitzvahs in the face of obstacles, of difficulties, and you force yourself to do them. The kiyum ha-mitzvahs ba'ifan la'aseisom. Asiya meloshin kefiyah. This doing comes from asiya, from the language of forcing yourself. Udavke hayoyim, it's davke today. Why? Ki la'osid lo v'yiyeh v'esruach hatuma avir min ha'oretz. The future to come, the Eibishter says that the spirit of Tuma I will remove from the land. And therefore, there will not be the labor, the work, the service of subduing yourself. So therefore, ato, now, now we have to do it, because, as the Rebbe will explain, the whole point is that a Yid should overcome the challenges and the obstacles and still do the avodah of Torah mitzvahs. This also explains why it says Va'ata Yisrael, and now Yisrael, because Yisrael represents the strength that we have to overcome all the obstacles. The Eibishter gave the name to Yaakov, gave him Yisrael because it says Kisarisoy Melikim Loi Yikore Shimcha. The Malach was, when he struggled with the Malach, he told him that Lo Yikore Shimcha, it shouldn't be called Yaakov but Yisrael. Why? Because he struggled and he overcame the Elikim. Elikim is Helam, and you struggled and you subdued and you overcame. Yisrael, who al shem kisariso melikim. Yisrael is called because you have struggled, battled with Elikim. What does it mean? Ha'ishtaderus al kol ha'alomis v'ha'estedim ha'nimshochim mishem Elikim. That is the dominance over all the blocks and obstacles that come from Shem Elikim. Ad, also to lahalomis v'hastadium, the nefesh abamis v'yetzer hora, to the blocks and the obstacles of the nefesh abamis, animal soul v'yetzer hora, hamefatim es ha'odom lasis ahepech chas v'sholom, who persuade the person to do against the will of Hashem. The Inyan Yisrael. So what is Yisrael? Hu shehu mishtarer, that he dominates, he overpowers al haritzonis the nefesh abahamis, on the wants of the animal soul. Va'ad kisarisim elikim. First is the dominance. Va'ad, until vatuchal, asher vatuchal, that you were able, you won him over. The betechila heimen nagdim v'umishtarer aleim iskafia starts off with they opposition, and he dominates them. He overcomes them. That's the level of iskafia. Ve'achar kach, and then you come to the level of atuchal. Shehu menatzeach oisom, that he is victorious over them, which is his hapcho. Turn it totally around. So now, so this is V'zeu va'ata Yisrael. So we're saying now that we have the level of Yisrael, now during the time of Golus, in the time of Olam Hazeh, when we're here in this world, when we have to fight and battle, when we need the Yisrael, we need to overcome. Shedavke ato sheyeshno mitzius asitra achra. There exists the such a thing as the other side. Nikra b'shem Yisrael. Then you're called Hashem Yisrael. Hashem kisarisu gemevatuchal, because you have battled and you overcome. Iskafya sitra achra v'ishapcha sitra achra. You subdue the other side and you turn over the other side. Vatuchal. Hashem kein lo silova, as opposed to the future to come. Kivon shesru achatuma avir min haaretz. The pasuk says that the Eibishter will remove the spirit of impurity from the land, so there will be no more persuasions of the Nefesh Bahamis and the Yetzer Hara. Lo yikaru b'shem Yisrael, then the Yidden will not be called Yisrael. Then el b'shem Yeshurun, oi b'shem Achad. Then they will call Yeshurun or some other name. Asher pi Hashem yikavenu, which Hashem will decide what name. Kibevur Barucha Bedrusha Tzemach Tzedek, as explained at length in the Maimorim of the Tzemach Tzedek. So basically, that's why the pasuk says Ve'ata. Now that there is the idea of Yisrael, there's still the level of battling. So now we want the Eibishter is saying Ma. So what the pasuk is saying, Va'ata Yisrael, and now Yisrael, Ma. You still have that level of Ma, the Etzem and the Neshama. Zeh sheyegam ato. The fact that also now, kisheyesh no mitzias hasitra achro, when there is the existence of the other side, which means b'chlal, before lost love, but especially also begam bisman hagolus, also not only nowadays, even during the time of exile. This was even true in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. Before Ashruach Hatum Avim in Oretz, there was Sitra Achra. And also now bisman hagolus, vafil lo beikvasa de Meshicha ato mamish, that even in the hills of Mashiach, which is Va'ato Mamish now during these times, in the hills of Mashiach, it's within the ability of each and every one of the Yidden, lihishtarer, to dominate, akol hamoinim u'ma'akvim, and all that prevent and hold back, ulenatzcham, and to be victorious and win them. So Risa, Goimer, Iskav Vatuchal, and to overcome. So Va'ata Yisrael is Ma, who mitzad ha'mashaboy, because he has that level of Ma, which is the Bechinas Yechida. The level of Yechida gives the Yid the ability to overcome all of the obstacles, even in the lowest and in the most difficult times. We have the power of that Ma'al the Yechida, because the level of Yechida is not affected by all of this. Kivon shebichinas haYechida ein keneged lumazeh. The level of Yechida of the Neshama, there is no opposing force in the other side. There's no Sidra Achra over there. Lochein al yidei sheme'orer haYechida shaboy, by arousing, waking up the Yechida which is in him. He is able now to dominate all, overpower all the opponents and to win them and to beat them. So, Mashamru Yisrael, this also explains now that we explained that the Yisrael means the level of battling. So we also explains this statement, Sha'om Razal, Yisrael, Afa Pishachota Yisrael. Even though he sinned, he's still Yisrael, because we're saying that reference that a Yid always has that level of the Yechida. So we say that Yisrael, Shachota, we're not saying Yaakov, but we're saying Yisrael. He is still a Yisrael. Shuhu lo yidak Yaakov. Not only is he Yaakov, but Lagam Yisrael, the Shem Hamayla. This is the name which speaks of the greatness. He's called Yisrael. Ki bekol echad vechad mi Yisrael, because by each and every one of the Gam kishechoto, even when he had sinned, hayichida hi b'shlemus. The level of yichida by the person is complete, is whole. So therefore, he's still Yisrael, he still has that Yechida that gives him the ability to battle. Psak din harambam hayidua, as the known ruling of the Rambam. Shakol echad ve'echad mi Yisrael, that each and every one of the Jewish people, Gam kisheyitzrei tokfoi, levatel mitzvah, even when his Yetzer attacks him, his inclination to waste and not do the mitzvah. So the person is not doing the mitzvah because his Yetzer is in control. His inclination doesn't let him do the mitzvah. And how do we get him to do the mitzvah? Va'ata, to the extent he is so much against doing the mitzvah, in order for him to do the mitzvah, you got to force him. Goyim have to force him. That's the extent that he doesn't want to do the mitzvah on his own. So what happens when Goyim force him? Who writes Alas is called mitzvahs. The Rambam says he still wants to do the mitzvahs. Because Bipnimius, he wants to do the mitzvah. That's why he's a Yisrael. Because he has the Yechidas B'Shleimus. V'lechein Yisrael. That's why he's a Yisrael. Sheyesh lehakoyach liyosari goymer v'tucha. He has the power to be dominating and to overpower and to win. And he's hapcha. So the Rebbe asks, but this seems to go against what we learn in Likutei Torah, that sometimes you can lose your ma. Here the Rebbe says, even when you sin, you still have that ma, you still have that Yisrael, you still have that Yechida. But it says, the Rebbe teaches, says, oh, shoita ma'abed ma, you lose that ma, you lose that level of Yechida. But the Rebbe explains, losing doesn't mean that it's gone. It means like a lost object. It's still there. You got to find it, but you still have it. It's very far away, not begil. He says, and this, what our sages tell us, who is considered to be a fool? The one who loses the ma that was given to him. We find shekoyi alamasha benefesh, that goes on the ma which is in the soul, that he loses the ma means he loses ma of the soul. That because he's a fool, he does not battle, he does not fight against the spirit of foolishness that entered him. So then, he, God forbid, he loses that ma. So we see that you don't have the ma, you lose the ma. Rebbe explains when we say you lose it, what we mean that the ma that in the person is very obscure. It's also understood from the language itself. Ezeu shoita hama'abed. A shoita loses. Lose something means it's not gone. It means he can't find it now. But if he'll look for it, he'll find it. Shehu bedugmas davar ha'ovud, that is similar to an item that was lost. Shegam la'achrei shenevad hu b'shleimus. Even after the loss, it's fully there. He doesn't have it. He doesn't know what it is. Elo shetzorich l'motzoi. You must find it. Va'idei hachipus kideboyi. And through the proper searching, bevada yimtzeno, for sure he will find it. So it's take always there. But the only thing is you got to find it sometimes because he's a fool, he loses it, but it's still there. So what does Hashem ask of you? So Hashem Elikecha Shoel Mevakesh Me'imoch means Mikol Echad Ve'echad Mi'Yisrael. That is Me'imoch from you, each individual, each Echad Kol Echad Me'imoch Yisrael. Of you, it's not asked as a whole from everyone. Me'imoch from you, meaning each individual. The Eibishter asks Shahamasha Bo Yibikilui, that this ma that he gave you should be open. God forbid not to lose the ma that was given to him. And also, if God forbid he did lose it, he has to search ad legalis till he's going to reveal Dema al yidei asiyas tshuva, by doing tshuva. Now, the pasuk says is going to be the person is going to have to work. Ato Yisrael, now, well, the Yisrael, we have the ma is me'imoch asks from you. You have to do the work. The Eibusher is not going to do it for you. That how was the ma gonna be revealed me'imach through you, through his avodah. The gam his oiderus hatshuva hi al yidei hakeruzim shemachrizim milmailo. Even when the arousal, the awakening to tshuva comes through the announcements that they announce above, there's Baskal Yoitzes, there's various different announcement which the neshama hears, but still that comes from above. Or the Eibishter sometimes orchestrates various kinds of reasons. He manipulates the situation, various causes that the person should get a hisoidus commission kosuf. And the pasuk says, "V'choshav machshavos lebilti yidach menanidach," that he thinks up various thoughts so that nobody should be lost, pushed away. So even in that case, it needs to be me'imoch. Hinezehu rak hachone l'tshuva. That's only the preparation for teshuva. That announcement or that causes that the Eibishter orchestrates that prepares you to tshuva. But we need to be me'imoch aval tshuva atzmo nasis al yidei avedosei davke. But the actual tshuva itself, that takes place through his service davke, because it's me'imoch. It has to be from you, from the person himself. So what do we see here? So we see here that the Rebbe is explaining why we need 100 brachas, but the Rebbe first started to explain that the whole avodah is to be the level of Yisrael. We need a struggle, and to bring down the revealed Dama. Dama is always there, and Yisrael, even at the lowest of the levels, Yisrael always has it. If he loses it, he has to go find it, but it's still going to be there, but he needs to work on it. So, Rebbe explains now. So, why do we want it to be now? Why is it now that the accomplishment of the Eberster that he wants is Hayoim now? Because of these struggles, that is actually what the Eberster wants, the Dire B'Tachtonim. Let's look inside Zion. V'hinei, ze shema Hashem Elikecha shoylim mimachu davke, hu'ata davke. This that we're saying that Hashem asks of you is davke now, hayem lasoisom, we say today to do it. Av shahashleim is the kiyum ha-mitzvahs, ki-mitzvahs ritzenecha tiye davke b'meis ha-Mashiach, even though the fulfillment of the mitzvahs in the proper way, that they should be done, kimitzvahs ritzenecha, as the Eberster wants, that's going to be in the days of Mashiach, who bichdei shetiya ha'avoida diskafyo sitra achro v'ishapcho sitra achro, so that it should be the service of forcing yourself, subduing yourself, and turning around the sitra achro. Pirush, it should be Israel, it should be a dominance. If there's not, then it's going to be Yeshurun, or another name. But Israel, that's the way that the Kavone, the Eberster wants it, even though the mitzvahs aren't on the highest level like Le'osid. Because Davke, through the struggles, the Shlem es hakavone the nisava kodesh baruch hu liyil shlo yizbarach dire betachtonim, that completes the Eberster's intent, which the Eberster wants a dire betachtonim. Shetachlis hashleimus tiyil osid lovei davke kinal. So even though that the ultimate wholesomeness is going to be lost, we are fulfilling the kavone by Dira B'Tachtonim, but when is it going to be fulfilled? The ultimate Dira B'Tachtonim, everything is going to be lost in Lovei Canal. Hare Tachlis Hashleimus de Losid Lovei. What is the ultimate? What is the Shleimus that is going to be in the future? That things will be, even Begashmius will be connected, will be a Dira. The way it happens is through the struggles we have now. What is the ultimate shleimus in the future? That then will be the revelation of the essence of in this physical world. The lower that is no lower than it. That's going to be Losid Lovei. Losid Lovei is going to be revealed that the Eberster is in this physical world. How does that happen, Losid Lovei? Ushleimuzu nasis alidei masenu v'avedesenu achshav. And that wholesomeness takes place, comes about through our action and our labor now. By sorting out and refining the world as it's now. Davke now. That gets to the Tachtonim. And for this, the Neshama, that's the reason the Neshama went down below. The main intent for the Neshama. Yes, there's going to be an elevation for the Neshama alone. The Neshama itself is going to go on a higher level after the struggles. But what was the main purpose of the Neshama coming down here is to work and change around this world, and Nefesh Bahamis and part in the world. The main intent in sending down the Neshama in this world is not for the elevation of the soul, which takes place through the descent. That wasn't the main goal. But in order to sort out and to refine the body and the animal soul and his portion of the world, that's why he came down. And that will benefit that Mesa Mashiach will be Yes, the mitzvahs will be greater, but now you're doing the tachten, and now we're dealing with the struggles, and then the gilui will come le'asid love. Through this struggle that the gilui will be in this physical world, and this will complete the intent of Dira B'Tachtonim, K'mevur Kol Zeh Baruch Betanya, as explained all this at length in Tanya. So that's why, even though the mitzvahs are greater in Los Lavoi, but we need the Dira B'Tachtonim, and there's no challenges there. There's no Tachtonim over there. It's dafke through our Maseinu V'Avodeseinu and our struggles that we bring it down in the Gashmis, in Tachten Shein Tachten Lamata Mimenu, to the lowest form, which reveals the ultimate Kavanah, the Ein Sof, and Los Lavoi will be even in the Gashmis. Ches. So this is a very central, a very important part of the descent of the neshama, to change around the world, the guf, nafshabamis, the world. Mekivon shehaneshama, since the intent for the descent of the soul below is last, he says, is to make this world for a dwelling place for Hashem blessed. How they move on, so it's understood that this idea, asiyas hadira lo yisbarich, to make a dwelling place for Hashem, blessed, that's something main in the standing and the situation of the neshama. That's what is expected. That's something very important and main in the neshama's purpose. The kasher eino memaloch has v'sholim eshlichusa v'tafkido. When God forbid, the neshama does not fulfill its mission and its purpose, even when the neshama has the greatest of revelations, then the main thing is lacking, because it's not about the giluyim of the neshama, it's about what the neshama does in the world. And on the other hand, so having giluyim without accomplishing the job is lacking. The main thing is lacking. On the other hand, if it doesn't have giluyim but it does the job, through it fulfilling the intent of dir v'tachtonim, nasebo aliyah gdolim niflo le'inkates, then in the neshama becomes a great and wondrous elevation to no end, because it fulfilled the mission for what it came down. So now, this will tell us that the 100 brachas that we do, which are mamshich in the world, is so important to bring out the ma, because brachas is the idea of bringing down the gilu in the world. The avodah of meya, we say, shal yoda nasir hagilu dema, the avodah of meya through which the revelation of ma takes place, he meya brachas, is 100 brachas. Hashayochim lebiru v'zichur chaylim l'kamon. The Rebbe will say in a nice test that the brachas are sorting out and refining the world. So that's why, especially 100 brachas, they bring around about the kavanah and the purpose of the neshama into the world, and that's why it's the mei brachas, as the Rebbe will explain. Av shagilu yochel liyas l'chayda gam al yidei ha'avodah beprote ha'koiches da neshama. Even though l'chayda, why do we need the brachas, the hamshocha from into the world? Just the avodah with the details of the neshama itself, without an il of the neshama. L'lechas b'chol drachav, to go in the Eibishter's ways. Why do we need the part of brachas? The brachas is the connecting with the world, the birur ha'olam. Why do we need that? Ki hashleimus da neshama gam hamashaba, because ultimately the completeness, the wholesomeness of the soul, kama mashaboy, he davke, even the ma, he davke al yidei shememalo es tafkido v'shluchuso, is davke by the neshama fulfilling its purpose and its mission to make a difference in the world. V'zeu, and that's the brachas. Not the neshama koiches on its own, but davke in the world. V'zeu, va'ata Yisrael ma. Now, when Yisrael is mad, Yidei Shahai mad Neshama, who oived ha'avoda the Yisrael, that through the ma of the Neshama, that he has the Yechida, so then he's able to work oived ha'avoda the Yisrael, is kafya sitra achra, v'isapka sitra achra. He can subdue and turn around the sitra achra. He can do Yisrael now because he has the ma, because he has the yichida. Ato shal yidei zeh hu memales hakavona shebeshvilo nivra. So then, when he uses the ma to struggle over the Yisrael, he fulfills the purpose for what it was created. Al yidei zeh davke through this, utachlis ha'ilu gam shel hamashe boy. That is the ultimate elevation also of the ma. So Va'ata Yisrael ma, when we use the ma to be Yisrael now, then that brings to the purpose, fulfilling the kavanah for creation, and brings the shleimus in the ma. The ma becomes, because when the ma fulfills, the neshama fulfills its mission, that's when it really becomes b'shleimus, as the Rebbe says. Now this connects now to the Meya Brachas. Test. And this is why the Rebbe asked before, why 100 brachas? Because this is what we say to do 100 brachas every day. The inyan habrachas, what is brachas? That there should be drawing down the revelation of godliness. Loi rak bi Yisrael, not just by the Yidden, elo shal yodom yumshach gilu elokus be'olam, but Yidden should extend and draw down a revelation of godliness into the world. That's what the brachas is. As we say in the language of the brachas, Baruch ato Hashem Elikeinu Melech ha'olam. So Baruch ato means also reveal. You sheyumshach. Baruch. Baruch means extend. Extend the gilui ato Havaya Lekenu, the revelation of Havaya, who is our God, which is the Havaya be Yisrael. Extend Havaya by the Yidden, Elikenu, Melech ha'olam, by this the Yumshach HaGilu ba'olam. And through the Yidden, it will extend the Gilu into the world. Melech ha'olam. That's the bracha. Hashem Elikenu, Melech ha'olam, to bring the world. U'ba'olam is gufa. And within the world itself, ha'amshocha shal yidei ha'brachas hi be'ikir ba'olam es ha'tachtonim. The main hamshocha of the world is in the lower world. As the pasuk says, Baruch Havaya Elikei Yisrael min ha'olam va'ad ha'olam. Havaya should be drawn down, the God of Israel, from the world into the other world. Sheyumshach ma'alma diskasya la'alma disgalia, from the hidden world that was hidden to the world that's revealed. The alma diskasya, the hidden worlds, heim olam Yisrael yoyin. Those are the upper worlds, Shem Betelim Lelakus. They are subjugated to godliness. They're called Iskasya, like the ocean. Everything is hidden, like the fish in the sea. They're covered and they're subjugated to the water. The neshama, the creations in the higher world, in the Alma de Iskasya, are covered and hidden and they're subjugated. That's the upper world. But the revealed world are the lower worlds. And especially this physical world. They appear to be an entity as something separate. So what does the bracha do? Min ha'olam, from the hidden world to the ad ha'olam. Inyan ha'bracha sheyumshach gilu elikus gam ba'olam ha'tachtonim ad ba'olam hazeh hagashmi, is to bring down a revelation of godliness also into this physical world. That is what the bracha is, to be mamshich giluim into the world. Bekivon shekol ma shebara kodesh baruch hu. And since everything that the Eibishter created in the world, he didn't create anything wasteful. That's one thing. Everything has a purpose, nothing wasteful. And everything what Hashem created in the world, and everything that he created, he brought it to honor him. So it's not just enough in the world, we need to bring down the Gilukus in everything. We need to bring down the revelation of godliness in everything in the world. So that the item, everything in this world should be filled in it openly, that it was created to honor for his blessed honor. This is 100 brachas. The Meya Uribachi Godel, the greatest number is Meya, Kidua Sheklolus Ha'oisiyos, that generally the letters of the numbers they represent, and Begimel Asugim, there's 3 categories. Ichida is single numbers, Aleph Beis Gimel, then Asiriya is Yud Chof Lamed, and Meya is Kuf Reishin Tov. We have only in these categories. So 100 is the greatest number. The Ribu Hu Inyan Haprotim. That means details. The idea of 100 brachas, gilu elokus, that means that the godliness, revelation of godliness, should extend b'chol haprotim sheba'olam, in all details of the world. Rebbe says, also to add, based on what is known, the inyan hamisporim, when we discuss the numbers, with those single numbers, yichidus, asiriyos, tens, and meis 100. Sometimes it's explained shemispara meruba hu lemailo, that the larger number is higher. B'chol shenimshach lamata yeser, and the more that you go lower, mismayit ha-mispar, the number gets diminished. So meyos is bekeser, and beyichid is b'malchus. The keser is the hundreds, and single number are in malchus. Sometimes it's explained that the higher level is single numbers, single digits. The ones, 2, and the more that it comes down, that the number increases. Yechidus bekeser u'meiz b'malchus, that the yechidus is in keser and the meiz b'malchus. 2 opposite ways. So how does this explain that in 2 ways? The Shnei Efanim Elu Hem Ba'oris V'Kelim. That it depends about the Oiris and the Kelim. The Ba'oris, when we talk about the Oir, Mispar HaMeruba Hu L'maylo. Over there, the greater number, that's higher. U'B'Kelim, Mispar HaMeruba Hu L'mata. And the Kelim, the larger number, is lower. Yesh L'Hoisid Biur Ba'Mispar Me'ah Brachas. Based on this, we can explain additional explanation in the number of 100 brachas. One of the differences between the hidden world and the revealed world, in Alma Diskasia, it's mainly the Oiris. But the Alma Diskalia, the revealed world, it's mainly the vessels, the Kelim. Bekivon she'inyan habrachas, the to bring down from Iskasi Lama Disgalia, Hainu, Shainyonim the Alma Diskasia, Oiris, Yu Begilu Gamba Alma Disgalia Kalim, so that it will also be Begilui in Alma Disgalia. L'chein tzorich levorich meya brachas. That's why we need to make 100 brachas, because lahamshich ribui ha'ires the alma diskasia, to bring down this lots of oires, the many oires of alma diskasia, ba'kelim the alma disgalia, into the vessels of alma disgalia. The ad, so that's why we need the meya to bring it down, keser, the level of the oiris, into the kelim, which is the level of 100. The ad, then to the extent that it will be extended to all the many creations, the number 100, which represents the great number in the physical world, the inyan, mo rabu ma'asecha, how many are Yashem's action, his chalkus, the ribu protim, who be ikir by Elam Haza, Gashmi's Davki is mainly in this Elam Haza. That explains why we need brachas and why we need meya. Meya a lot to get to all levels in the Elam Haza Tachten, and meya to get the level of Oiris in the Alma Di Isgalia. Yud. Zeu V'ata Yisrael mo Hashem Elekecha Shoel Me'imach. So what do we say? That Hashem asks you, Al Tikra Ma Elameya. In order that it should be able to be this service of 100 brachas, which means to bring down the many lights of above, the iris, ribu beichus, beribu hanivroim shalamato. Over there, it's a many, not in quality wise, into the quantity wise, in the ribu hanivroim shalamato, ribu yischalkus leprotim, and the many details who are the day hamash benefesh. That comes through the level of ma yichida of the nefesh. The ma hu nekuda atzmis shelamaylo migeder mispar. Ma is the essence which is above the defined by number. Shem shaykh bo in yaribu. You can't even say the many gam lo ribu beiches, not even ribu beiches. So through the ma, you're able to bring down the meya from Keser, from Amadis, Kasya to this Galia. By day avoida the meya brachas, and through the service of the 100 brachas, aideze gufa misgala hamashabai. That itself reveals the ma of the person through these hamshoches that he brings down into the world of meya brachas, reveals the mashabai. V'loy oid shekivan shatachlis yiris hanasham lamato. Not only that the ma is revealed because the meya brachas reveal it, but shekivan shatachlis yiris hanasham lamato. The goal that the soul came down below, koil gam yiridis hamad hanashama. Also the fact that the ma, the yichid of the neshama, hu bichdei lahamshem gilel kus ba'olam, k'mosho achshav, to bring down godliness in the world as it's now, va'ato, aidei ha'aveda the Israel, through the aveda of the Yid, al shem sariso v'atuchal, it came down so that there should be the ma to give the person the koyach of Yisrael, to bring down the ma, so that the ma will help him overcome the struggles and to be vatuchal. L'chein al yidei sha'odam memales tafkide v'shlichusei, through the person fulfilling his mission, his purpose, and his mission, nasi ilu gam b'mashaboy, that brings about an elevation also in the ma that reaches its goal. Kivon shekvar nimtsoyim b'sev zman hagolos. Since we are already at the end of the time of exile. And every one of the Jewish people already has completed the work, service of Hayom La'asosom. meaning the time where we have to do it. Ifticha Torah shesoif Yisrael lasis tshuva b'soif Golusa. Because the Torah promised that Yidden will do tshuva at the end of Golus. So that means that we've done our avodah. In the miyadim, the golim, so immediately they're redeemed. Begeula ha'amitis v'hashlema, the true and the complete redemption of the Mashiach Tzidkeinu, through righteous Mashiach. Sha'oz tushlam ha'kavona dedira b'tachtoinim. Then the purpose of the dwelling place b'tachtoinim will be completed. She'yiyeh gilu lakuz ba'ilum hazeh ha'gashmi, that there will be a revelation of godliness in this physical world. And all the details. The Israel, and then the Yidden Shememshicha Gilu Ba'ilam, and the Yidden that brought down this Gilu in the world, Yu Madreges Nailis or Yosef, they will be even a higher level. Because and all this, because of Mamish, Bagol Didan.